This is so exciting. This is one of the best days of the year, getting to gather and reflect. Thank you all so much for being here, for joining us for the 78th annual meeting of Cedarcrest. Yeah, 78. It is really wonderful to see so many familiar faces in the atrium here tonight, and to know that we have many folks joining us via Zoom. Whether you're here in Keene or logging in from the living room, thank you for joining us. I want to take a quick moment to frame why we gather each year for an annual meeting. It is, for all nonprofits, a business necessity. You have to do an open community meeting to talk about the year that was and the year that will be. It's a meeting with stakeholders and community members to reflect, and it's also one for accountability and governance. It's also a chance for us to pause, look around at one another, and celebrate the incredible network of support that allows us to do what we do. As I mentioned, we're building on a long standard of excellence here, 78 years. The organization has evolved, but the core promise, exceptional care, education, enrichment, and therapies has never wavered. Tonight's about honoring that legacy while looking squarely into the future. A quick bit of housekeeping before we begin. For those of us here in the room, the emergency exits are located down the back hallways, as well as out through the dining room to my right, your left. There are restrooms on the back hallway and at the top of the stairs. And for guests on Zoom, please feel free to use the chat feature. This is a keyboard, apparently. Chat feature. We'll be monitoring throughout the night for any questions, and we'll have a Q&A portion at the end of the program. To kick us off, and to kind of center us on why we're all here tonight, I want to share a glimpse inside the school where our students work every day to achieve their unique potential.
Cedarcrest School serves children and young adults who reside at Cedarcrest, as well as students from the surrounding community whose complex needs cannot be fully met within their local public school system. Education at Cedarcrest is deeply individualized and thoughtfully designed to support students ages 3 to 22. Each student's school day is intentionally structured to support both learning and development. Academic instruction is paired seamlessly with related services, including speech, occupational, and physical therapies, which are all fully integrated into the daily schedule. Specially designed instruction sessions address each student's unique educational, developmental, and functional goals, allowing learning to occur in meaningful and supportive ways. This collaborative, multidisciplinary approach allows students to make meaningful progress, both academically and developmentally, within a supportive, therapeutic learning environment. Cedarcrest School is comprised of 3 small, specialized classrooms, each serving up to 10 students. The Peach Classroom supports preschool and elementary-age students. The Green Classroom serves middle school-age students, and the Yellow Classroom is designed for high school students. Currently, Cedarcrest School serves 21 students, including 2 day students from the community. Due to the complex needs of students, one-to-one support, as outlined in each student's IEP, is provided to deliver continuous, medically necessary services that enable students to safely access the educational program. Learning at Cedarcrest extends beyond the classroom. The Green and Yellow Classrooms participate in weekly community-based field trips that allow students to explore, engage with, and connect to their community. These experiences are intentionally aligned with what students are learning in the classroom, reinforcing skills and helping students apply learning in real-world settings. The Peach Classroom participates in community field trips every other week, providing developmentally appropriate opportunities for younger students to safely explore and experience their surroundings. For high school students in the Yellow Classroom, vocational skill development is a core component of the curriculum. Vocational programming is designed around each student's individual interests, strengths, and goals, and is supported through purposeful partnerships with community organizations. In addition to community-based vocational experiences, students participate in meaningful daily tasks such as shredding paper, watering plants, gathering recyclables, and transporting materials to the local recycling center. These activities help students build routines, practice responsibility, develop independence, and take pride in contributing to their environment, The growth and expansion of Cedarcrest vocational programming is guided by the leadership of Nadja Stinson, Yellow Classroom teacher, whose vision and dedication have helped shape a program that continues to evolve in meaningful ways. Through her leadership, vocational opportunities have expanded to better reflect students' interests and real-world experiences, creating pathways for increased independence, confidence, and community connection. Her commitment ensures that vocational learning is not only purposeful, but empowering for each student. Recent vocational experiences have included a partnership with the Colonial Theater, where students participated in ticket sales, ushering, backstage logistics, and performance preparations. These hands-on opportunities allow students to gain insight into how a professional organization operates, while strengthening communication, teamwork, and confidence. In another meaningful experience, one student had the opportunity to help coach a local middle school field hockey game, further developing leadership skills, collaboration, and a sense of belonging within the community. Preparing students for life after high school means giving them meaningful opportunities to learn practical, real-world skills they will use as adults. Incorporating vocational skills into the high school curriculum allows students to further practice routines, build independence, develop communication and social skills, and gain confidence through everyday activities. This approach also aligns with Indicator 13 of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA, which emphasizes thoughtful planning beginning at age 16 for life after school in areas such as employment, post-secondary learning, and independent living. By intentionally embedding vocational and functional skill development into the school day, we help ensure students leave high school prepared for meaningful participation in their adult lives.
And a big thank you to Amanda and the entire education team for supporting that video, showing some of the magic of Cedarcrest in action. If you've seen our annual report this year, you know there's one big word on the cover: resilience. There's also Took on the cover, and we'll hear more from her later. Usually when we're talking about resilience at Cedarcrest, we're talking about the children. We're talking about their strength, their joy, and their ability to overcome incredible odds. That is always true, and that's the why behind everything that we do. But this year, I also want to talk for a moment about our resilience as an organization, as a staff, and as a community. When I look back over 4.5 years with the organization, I see a clear trajectory. We navigated the end of a global pandemic, a historic labor crisis, massive shifts in the healthcare landscape, and ongoing federal uncertainty. We didn't navigate these waters by accident. In partnership with the board, we embarked on a bold vision. We refused to just get by, and instead established foundational strategies and partnerships that allow us to not just survive, but thrive in an uncertain market. For the first time in my tenure, I can stand here and say that our leadership team is fully assembled with all of the right people in the right positions to really go out and drive that vision every day. There's a shared energy on the leadership team here that is palpable. These folks are ready to move mountains, and they do every day. We spent a lot of time this year working on a continuum of care because we know we can't do this work in a silo. In the past, we had a medical model that involved a contracted medical director from Dartmouth Health Children's who did incredible work for us. With her moving on to other opportunities, we took this year to renegotiate that partnership with Dartmouth, to invest in that partnership, and to improve the model. We created a more robust system with a different strategy for on-call coverage. We added both a Dartmouth medical director, Dr. Ryan Ratz, who's here with us this evening, as well as a Cedarcrest employee, Kim McCain, who's also here with us this evening, an APRN who serves as the primary care provider for the children. These changes have improved not only access, but collaboration between our system and the Dartmouth system. I'm so pleased that Kim and Ryan are here with us this evening. I want to thank them both for their incredible work on our behalf and on the behalf of the children. And I'd like to welcome them up to say a couple words.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I'm Ryan. I'm Dr. Ratz, and this is Kim.
I'm Kim.
I don't really have like formal slides or prepared words, but I did want to just take a couple minutes to introduce ourselves, and I apologize if I ramble slightly. 78 years, that's absolutely amazing. And I've gotten to know a lot of the kids from Cedarcrest over the last 15 years as a pediatric hospitalist, and I'm also an adult hospitalist. I've been working up at Dartmouth for 15 years. And I know Kathy Collins very well from the complex care team, and so really tough shoes to fill. She was, I think, a great part of this institution. I think what's remarkable to me is the longevity and the retention of the staff. I think Kim, one of her first jobs as an LNA was actually here at Cedarcrest, and she has gone on to become a nurse practitioner with 7 years of PICU experience, and she's an assistant professor at the nursing school at Keene. And I think having someone like that as boots on the ground as a daily rounder to take care of the patients is a great resource. Historically, when the kids got sick, for example, we would call the general pediatricians up at Dartmouth, and if the kids were sick, they said, uh-oh, why don't we send them to the ED? And if they really were having decompensation, they would come up and visit us at Dartmouth for a while on the inpatient setting. I think we're now having those calls taken by pediatric hospitalists. Can we intervene sooner with these kids? I guess to put it in perspective, the census has grown in the last 20 years. I think we have moved from 19 to 25, 26 residents in some respite, and the acuity of the patients has increased. And I think in 2011, started having patients with vents, right, and G-tubes. And so the acuity and the complexity has certainly increased over the years. And I think having us be involved with 24/7 coverage and backup for Kim, can we maybe recognize things sooner? Can we intervene? Can we make it easier, the transitions of the kids when they go to the emergency room? Can we sometimes even bypass them, bring them up to Dartmouth? When I think of system changes to help facilitate, and Cedarcrest is its own institution and Dartmouth is its own institution, but we have a symbiotic relationship. I think I'm also the section chief of pediatric hospital medicine, and I think we really have a dedication to make certain that Cedarcrest succeeds. How can we help them? And when you think of implementation science, changes in the healthcare system, there's something called the quadruple aim. The patient experience, that's one of the first pillars. Can we improve the life of these patients? Can we improve outcomes? That's another pillar. And I think if we can intervene sooner, recognize illness, maybe we have the capacity to prevent hospitalizations. Can we reduce costs? So this is one of the most vulnerable patient populations that exists, right? They're pediatric patients that can't advocate for themselves, and they have a high utilization and hospitalization. Can we improve that? And then clinician efficiency. How can we think of system changes to improve that? I think one of the things that has really been special to me is while I took care of Cedarcrest patients for 15 years, this was the first year I came down here and I spent some time in the school seeing the facilities. This is a precious gem. It is a remarkable institution. I think in some ways Cedarcrest can teach us some things about like physical therapy and occupational therapy, even like activities of daily living. And it's hard for us to give baths to kids in the hospital, right? And you guys do it every day here with these complex kids. Likewise, how can we, as evidence-based medicine is changing, help support Cedarcrest and get the nurses up to speed? The LNAs, the nurses, the respiratory therapists, they are the unsung heroes here. And how do we support them? How do we make their job, make the system better for them? At the end of the day, this is more than just a residential facility for vulnerable patients. It's a home, and this is the extended family of those patients. So I'm super excited to be involved in trying to help support Cedarcrest, and I think for members of the board, if there's issues, concerns, things you're curious about from the medical side, I am always available to chat. I would love to hear some of the things, the challenges you've thought about over the years. I would love to hear some of your thoughts about how do we support Cedarcrest in the long term. What is that long-term vision? As an adult hospitalist, what do we do when these kids start to age out of the system, right? And that's because they didn't used to. And so I'm happy, my door is always open. Any members of the board, I would love to hear your thoughts, shared visions. And in a world of changing political landscapes, we're not gonna talk about politics, but how do we advocate to both sides of the political aisle to make certain that there is appropriate funding and advocacy as well, not just the day-to-day and patient care. So it's wonderful to meet all of you, and thank you for letting me ramble for a few minutes.
I cannot tell you how gratifying it is to have these two professionals on the team and the amount of things that we have already been able to tackle. To Ryan's point, the systems that we've been able to get in there and work to improve has been incredible. Change is not easy. The only constant really is change. Some of the changes this year have been challenging. They've been difficult. But all of the changes this year have been positive, and Ryan and Kim have driven many, many important changes. One other win from our Dartmouth partnership that I want to call out has been a deeper integration for clinical skills training and opportunities for collaboration. We have had the nurse educator from CHAD come down and lead skills days in partnership with our nurse leaders here. And we're working on an in-service where we will go up, to Ryan's point, and do some education and some co-learning with the inpatient team up at CHAD, which is such a joy. We've hosted folks from Cheshire for shared learning and continuum building work, and we look forward to doing more of that. And we have some folks joining our board who will be helping with that effort. This year, some of those changes also included things like looking at how we support the nursing team. We recognized with Buffy's leadership as our director of nursing that some of the models for staffing were not well suited to what our nurses needed in terms of work-life balance and support. And so we made a not entirely easy decision to move to 12-hour shifts for the nurses this year. And that is an example of an investment in the team. It was not necessarily easy to do, but it has paid enormous dividends. Prior to making that change, nurses would work 4 8-hour shifts, and then they'd have a 4-hour call shift that they would be responsible for. So 5 days of uncertainty. Am I going to stay late? Am I going to have to come in early? And now our nurses work 3 days a week. And they have 4 days off, and they have lots of time to plan and recuperate. And the benefits in work-life balance have been significant. As I mentioned, we should be clear-eyed that change is not easy. Progress has a cost, and that cost is often the discomfort that comes with adaptation and growth. We've asked an awful lot of our team this year, but because this team has leaned into discomfort, we're already seeing many benefits. It would not be an annual meeting without talking about the finances of resilience, about the business of resilience. If you look at the financial statements, you'll see that there's an operating loss. That's consistent with our past practice, and it's intentional. That gap represents the difference between a basic level of care that Medicaid will pay for and the exceptional holistic environment that our team and this community believes these children deserve. We uphold that standard through incredible philanthropic support from community members like you, and also through a strategic investment of board-designated reserves. Beyond the finances, which Jim Yanizzi or I are happy to talk to anyone about at any time, I'm also interested, and I think it's worth reflecting for a moment, on the measures behind the measures. In a year where many of our colleague facilities were forced to rely heavily on temporary staffing, we prioritized a different path. Rather than directing resources outward toward contracted labor, we invested directly into our own people, into wages, benefits, learning, and culture. Under the leadership of Aaron Dallas Patch in people operations and in close collaboration with the board, we chose to be proactive rather than reactive. Because of that choice, I can stand here tonight and report that we are starting 2026 just about fully staffed. No agency usage since way back in the first part of 2025. Well, knock wood. And because we have that staff, we've been able to open our doors just a little bit wider. For the first time in recorded memory, we are fully occupied in the middle of winter. We have 26 long-term residents with respite guests joining us regularly that fills out our capacity of 27 beds. It's very rare for the winter and very rare in our census over the past handful of years. Part of the work of this year was also future-proofing our mission. You might have seen the solar array out on the far side of the building. That was a major project, a partnership with the city of Keene that both reduces our carbon footprint and also lowers our energy prices. And critically, we completed a win-win land acquisition with the First Baptist Church next door. They were looking to raise some capital for improvements to their building, and they had an unused parcel of land behind their building. We, due to some quirks in how the city of Keene does its zoning, have run up against something called the rule of impermeable ground cover. And what that means is you can only have a certain percentage of your parcel of land with anything that's not grass on it. Blacktop, building, playground, even a garden. And in order for us to do anything else, make a parking spot, add a raised garden bed, add a piece of playground equipment, we would need more land. And so purchasing the 7.5 acres from the church next door gives us that flexibility both now and in the future. I have to conclude my opening remarks here by saying just how proud I am of the resilience of the children, the team, and this community for the many incredible things we've done in 2025 and for all the incredible things that we're going to do in 2026. Tonight's a celebration of that grit and that resilience. It's a celebration of the fact that in a noisy and an uncertain world, we've built a place where the focus remains squarely where it should be, on the children. We cannot provide the care that we pride ourselves on without exceptional staff. And while exceptional staff involves quite a lot of nurses and LNAs and aides, it also requires exceptional support staff in a variety of functions. So in our first employee spotlight this evening, we'd like to shine a light on one of our incredible staff, our facilities manager, John Hamler.
My name is John Hamler. I'm the facilities manager here at Cedarcrest. Back in the day, I like to say that when I really worked hard for a living or worked for a living, I was an electrician for several years, quite a while in Colorado. At the state of Colorado, I worked for kind of doing the same thing, maintenance with the Department of Human Services for the state of Colorado. So it was similar. You know, we had ICF facilities there, the mental hospitals, the Division of Youth Services. We maintained their buildings throughout the state of Colorado. It's sort of similar to what we do here. We maintain the building here, all the infrastructure, all the facilities and systems, from mechanical to electrical to plumbing, the building itself, the architectural stuff here. We can, if we try to help with any of from kids' toys to the beds to some of the medical equipment, that if it's something simple that we can help with, to hanging poster boards or doing stuff for activities for the classroom kids or something like that. Whatever needs done, we're sort of a one-stop shop here. It is a job. We have a job to do, and yeah, it pays the bills, but there's more to it than that, and that makes it. I've done other things. I was in electrical contracting and stuff, and it's a job too, and you're a small group of families, but it's a different atmosphere knowing that the clientele that you're helping and stuff. And two, here at Cedarcrest, it's unique even more so than when I was working at the state. That all the volunteers and the background, the donors and things like that continued, and for years it's like surprising, and it's always one story after another of, oh, these people are going to donate their time or money or items or whatever. That it's a good cause, and you feel it all the time here. So.
We are so incredibly lucky to have found John and to have him leading the facilities team. And in honor of that gratitude, I have agreed to not compel John to give a speech. Part of every annual meeting involves business of the board. The how of Cedarcrest requires that strong governance. We are very fortunate to have a board that balances its oversight responsibility with an incredible depth of enthusiasm and support for what we do. To bring us into that board business, I'd like to introduce our board chair, Kevin Forrest.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Great turnout tonight. I want to thank you all for being here tonight and for taking the time to participate in our annual meeting. Your presence reflects your continued interest, support, and confidence in Cedarcrest, and for that, we are profoundly grateful. As you heard Jay mention earlier, this past year has been one of both challenge and progress. We operate in an environment marked by change, economic pressures, an ever-changing political landscape, and staffing and resource challenges. Despite these factors, Cedarcrest remained focused, resilient, and excited about our future. None of this happens by accident. Cedarcrest is fortunate to have a strong and capable leadership team guiding the way forward. Every day, our talented staff brings skill, compassion, and determination to their work, supporting children and young adults whose courage and hard work inspire us all. It has been a privilege to witness the progress made this year and the steady advancement towards goals of our strategic plan. The Board of Trustees and Advisory Council remain deeply committed to supporting this leadership, ensuring Cedarcrest has the resources, stability, and advocacy necessary to uphold its mission now and into the future. As we continue making strong progress toward our strategic plan goals, the board remains energized by what lies ahead. Cedarcrest is poised to continue defining excellence in pediatric complex care, leading with compassion, advancing with purpose, and serving with unwavering commitment. On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, thank you for your generosity, your belief in our work, and your continued partnership. Your support ensures that Cedarcrest can continue to meet the needs of the children and families who depend on us every day. At this time, we would like to recognize our 3 retiring trustees and their thoughtful contributions to Cedarcrest during their board service. First, we recognize Gina Burke. Gina stepped in as our interim director of advancement for the better part of a year, bringing incredible energy and focus to the role when we needed it most. Gina is a true community servant, from Habitat for Humanity to the Community Kitchen to the Monadnock DEIB initiative. We are grateful for the energy she poured into Cedarcrest during her tenure. Next, I want to recognize Victoria Prestjohn. Victoria has served on the board for 2 years, bringing a sharp, progressive eye to our human capital strategies. While she is stepping down from the board, we are thrilled that she will continue as a member of the People Operations Committee. Victoria, your insight into the best practices have been vital, and we wish you the very best as you take on your significant new leadership role as Human Resources Director for the City of Manchester. And we have one more trustee to recognize.
Say it ain't so, Kate. Say it ain't so. Oh, we come to Kate Wilbarger. Kate has been a mainstay of the Cedarcrest community for many years, starting her journey as a volunteer as a small child when Cedarcrest was up on the hill in Westmoreland. More recently, she served with distinction on the board for 9 years, in governance, as the head of the Finance Committee, and as our treasurer. On a personal note, Kate, I owe you such a tremendous debt of gratitude. Kate was part of the governance team that recruited me, and she was my very first board chair. Kate, you welcomed me, you guided me, and you gave me the great start that made all of the successes of the past 4.5 years possible. Your energy, your enthusiasm, your unwavering orientation toward we can figure it out and we can make it work really lifted me in all of the moments where I needed it, and I will be forever grateful. You will be sorely, sorely missed, but your imprint on the organization, on me, and on our future is permanent.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Kate, too. I've had the privilege to know Kate for 25 years. Both Kate and Cindy Coughlin were the original folks that introduced me to Cedarcrest. Kate has given so much of herself to Cedarcrest over the time she has served. She never hesitates to help when she can and has served many different roles here. I welcome her kindness, her compassion, and advice as a fellow trustee and community member. We will miss her expertise as we move forward to a new year. I have learned much from you, and I hope that in my time at Cedarcrest, I can be an example as you have for me. Thank you. All right. Now we would like to present the new members of the Board of Trustees, whose election was approved in our January meeting. We are pleased to welcome Jess Barbaro, Director of Critical Care and Emergency Services at Cheshire Medical Center. Jess brings a Master's of Public Health and a background in emergency nursing leadership. Gina O'Brien, Chief Medical Officer at Cheshire Medical Center. A pediatrician by training, Dr. O'Brien brings decades of clinical leadership experience and serves as a vital bridge between medical staff and administration. Carrie Chamberlain, Finance Director for the City of Keene. Carrie brings 28 years of financial experience and a personal connection to Cedarcrest. Her father, Rich Winter, was a beloved member of our Facilities and Environmental Services team who took great pride in his work and always made time for the children. Carrie brings that same heart and dedication to the board. And Anne-Marie Copo, Senior Director of Financial Planning and Analysis at Cheshire Medical Center. Anne-Marie brings nearly 26 years of hospital finance experience to the board. Welcome to all of you. All right.
Do any of our new trustees give remarks? Could you wave so folks know?
Or at least stand, please. Okay. Next, we have a slate of trustees who are up for renewal. I would like to invite a motion to renew the terms of Donna Dunlap, Cindy Coughlin, and Chris Betts. Do I have a motion? All right. Do we have a second? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Finally, we must vote to approve the officers of the board for 2026. Due to Kate's retirement, we have a change in the treasurer position. I present the following. For chair, Kevin Forrest. Vice chair, Donna Dunlop. Secretary, Cindy Coughlin. Treasurer, Chris Betts. Immediate past chair, Tom Bennett, and president and CEO, Jay Haston. Do I have a motion to approve the slate of officers as presented? Thank you. Do I have a second? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Chris, thank you for stepping into this important role. Your expertise and guidance will be invaluable to the board and leadership team. What this means is now we have 17 trustees serving on the board. I would like to recognize those who have not been mentioned yet tonight. Annie De Silva, Jed Donnellan, Matthew Goodwin, Dr. Lou Gwill, Ann Heffernan, Jillian Monmarket, and Susan Simons. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge our advisory council. While they do not vote, they serve as the eyes and ears of our community, participating in our communities and advocating for Cedarcrest in spaces we might not otherwise reach. To the members of the council joining us tonight, Thank you for your continued friendship and advocacy. Thank you very much. That concludes the business portion of the evening. I will turn things back over to Jay.
It is so nice when you have these kind of procedural breaks and people politely clap, because it feels like you're politely clapping for me, and I love that journey for me. One of the things I'm really thrilled about in our presentation this year, something we heard as a suggestion from the board and something that Bethany and the team in advancement has really run with, is putting together more ways to share the story of what we do, to show the why to folks who might not be as close to it as many of you are. One of the big focus areas this year has been on ensuring that the programming meets the needs of our children all across their age spectrum, with a particular emphasis on beefing up the programming for children who are under 3 or over 21. So folks who have completed their educational journey or folks who have not yet embarked upon their educational journey. We've added really robust support under the direction of Kristen Target, our Director of Programs, and our incredible activities coordinator, Ada Boulay. And this next video highlights our home enrichment program and some of the many incredible things they've been up to this year.
Cedarcrest home enrichment programming extends learning beyond the school day. These programs take place outside of school hours and are designed to include all residents at Cedarcrest, including individuals visiting Cedarcrest through respite stays. Through enrichment, Cedarcrest becomes not only a place of exceptional care, but a place of shared experiences. Enrichment programming is centered on meaningful engagement and connection. Activities are thoughtfully designed to reflect each resident's interests, abilities, and needs, offering opportunities for both individual participation and group experiences. Whether through creative expression, social interaction, or community outings, enrichment activities support overall quality of life. A key element of Cedarcrest's home enrichment programming is a strong connection between Cedarcrest and the surrounding community. Through individual and group volunteer opportunities, enrichment programming brings the community to Cedarcrest and brings Cedarcrest into the community. These relationships allow residents to build friendships, develop social skills, and feel a true sense of belonging, while also honoring and giving back to the community that so generously supports Cedarcrest. Recently, Cedarcrest welcomed volunteer groups from Colby Sawyer College, Keene State College, and Keene High School. These students spent time with residents playing games, creating crafts, and sharing laughter. Simple moments that foster meaningful connections and lasting memories. Cedarcrest residents also participated in community outings, including attending the DeMar Marathon to cheer on friends, enjoying performances of the Nutcracker, and taking part in local pumpkin festival. Each experience provided opportunities for engagement, celebration, and community pride. Enrichment programming also includes consistent weekly partnerships that bring creative and cultural experiences directly to Cedarcrest. Organizations such as NHDI, MoCo Arts visit regularly, offering movement, music, and arts-based programming that encourages self-expression and joy for all residents of all ages. These initiatives are all thoughtfully led by Ada Boulay, Cedarcrest's Recreation and Activities Coordinator. Through her leadership, creativity, and dedication, enrichment programming continues to grow as a vital part of daily life at Cedarcrest, strengthening connections, nurturing independence, and celebrating the mutual care that exists between Cedarcrest and the community.
I'm just going to keep saying how proud I am of everything this team is accomplishing, and there's a wonderful snapshot both of programs in the home as well as programming in partnership with the school that brings the type of joy and activity that the children want and so richly deserve. For the next portion of our program, we have to note that resilience is not a solo act. We rely on partners who believe in this work as much as we do. Our Champions Awards recognize those who have stepped forward to shoulder the load with us. First, our individual champion this year, who's joining us via Zoom, we are honoring Pat Stout. Pat's dedication to Cedarcrest spans decades, both as an employee and as a volunteer. Staff describe her as loyal, dependable, and the kind of person that everyone wants on their team. She was part of the team that grew the Kentucky Derby into a marquee event, and she continues to coordinate the annual holiday gift drive with the United Church of Christ. Pat is a person that others are instinctively drawn to, and we are so grateful that she uses that influence to advocate for the children. Bethany and I, and Marianne, are also particularly grateful that she proofreads all of our publications for us and helps mark them up and give us content editing suggestions, which it is worth its weight in gold. So Pat is joining us via Zoom. Please join me in a round of applause for Pat Stout. Next, we must honor a business champion or an organizational champion. And we are so thrilled to honor Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual is a constant presence in our community. You'll see their very large team at the annual Walk and Roll event, not just participating, but helping to plan. They also help us plan for prom, and they bring a significant amount of sweat equity here every spring because they volunteer to come for a full day of landscaping. As a community team building, an activity that they are opting into is a day of manual labor at Cedarcrest. For that and so many other reasons, we are so grateful to the folks from Liberty Mutual, a few of whom are here, and I'll ask them to come up for a photo. Now, our friends from Liberty Mutual are very happy to talk to anyone about the work that they do for us, but they have politely declined to give formal remarks. So we've taken a few moments to look outward. I'd like to bring us back inward for another employee spotlight. Versatility and dedication are really important themes or key attributes that you see in the staff here at Cedarcrest. And someone who embodies that versatility, that dedication, that deep care and enthusiasm for the children is Took Sandman. Please enjoy this video showing Took in action.
Hi, my name is Tuk. It's from the word from Thailand. Thai word for Tukta is mean a doll, and my legal name is Titiya Sandman. Yes, I am licensed nurse assistant here at Cedarcrest, and I just earned myself a medication nurse assistant. So I get to dispense the medication for these children. Before I was doing the nursing home care, and then I feel stressed and I feel like I am looking for something that more of challenging myself. So I look at for the pediatric one. I get to focus on the child that I'm being assigned on that day, follow their goals, what they should be, and then it's based on the circumstance on that day too, whether the child is okay to complete that goal or they're not feeling well. We can go light on their goal, or just have to roll with the day and the circumstance based on daily base. It's a lot of emotional. It can be a lot, and it can be overwhelming too, and also it's overjoyed sometimes. We see the child happy. We see that they have no filter. They don't have anything that to hide, So they just giving you the smile. But someday that they're not happy because of their medical condition, we just have to figure it out. That's what my job is, to figure it out, how to make their day better in their regular basis. Yes, we have goal to complete as their academic, area, but it's also the happiness is their priority too.
Good evening for everybody here. I'm short here. I would say thank you very much. I'm honored to be here and working along with a lot of amazing people here. I basically work all the shift at Cedarcrest, and then I gained the opportunity to complete a medication assistant program that Cedarcrest sent me to complete, and then right now I am currently at the school end, and I received a really significant amount of support from my direct supervisor, and I'm grateful for it and really honored to be here. And on behalf of Cedarcrest employee, I would like to thank all the trustees, all the sponsors, and everybody that will be here and support our community too. Thank you.
I am not short. One of the important ways that we build resilience is by investing in our own people, as Tuk just touched on. And an important way that we do that every year is with the presentation of the Peg Knox Scholarship. For those who don't know her, Peg Knox was the director of nursing here for 43 years. She was deeply committed to staff development, and the Knox Scholarship honors this legacy of lifelong learning. This year, we're proud to award the scholarship to two very deserving recipients. Our first recipient, joining us via Zoom, is Maria Ranta. Maria is an LPN who is absolutely critical to our operations over the past year. One of the things Buffy had noted for me, our director of nursing, is that it is folks like Maria who have stepped up when we've been training new staff or we've had open shifts and we've had times where the team needs to come together. And Maria is an example of jumping into the breach and making sure the kids have what they need. Nurse Supervisor Ashley Bertolami shares that watching Maria grow from an LNA to a nurse has been wonderful. She is someone with a quiet and calm demeanor, but does not miss a thing. Her assessments and her ability to see the big picture are far more developed than most at this stage in their career. Maria is a steady and capable presence, and we are so lucky to have her. Please, a round of applause for Maria, who is joining us on Zoom. Our second recipient, and a two-time winner, is Hanisi Smith. Hanisi is a core leader of our evening LNA team, and Ashley, nurse supervisor, describes Hanisi as an amazing mentor who onboards new hires and always leads with professionalism and grace. She is always willing to jump in, to take on a heavier assignment, and always make sure, no matter what the circumstances on shift are, to put a smile on the children's faces. She's a strong advocate for the children, for her colleagues, and she makes sure to keep spirits high, no matter what the circumstances are on shift. We are so thrilled to support her continued growth. Hanisi, could you join us? Strangely, both Hanisi and Ashley have declined to give formal remarks. Congratulations to the Knox Scholars both this year and in the 12 prior years that the Knox Scholarship has been running. Moving into the final portion of our program this evening, you all well know Cedarcrest has been built on an incredible legacy led by powerful, important, passionate women. Leaders like Kathy Gray here in the audience, Sharon Kaiser joining us on Zoom, Peg Knox, who we just spoke about, and so many others who have poured their time, energy, and heart into this mission. We have one final employee spotlight tonight on a leader who embodies that tradition over the past 15 years and who will be embodying that tradition going forward in a slightly different capacity.
Kristen, there are not enough words to express the gratitude we have for everything you've done for us at Cedarcrest.
I knew Kristen for the 9 years I was on the board, 2014 to 2023. I saw her as a really dynamic part of the leadership team here at Cedarcrest and really exemplifying all that Cedarcrest stands for. Kristen, I wish you all the best. Way to go and continue to make a difference for children and their families.
I've always respected her professionalism, her forthrightness, and her deep care for the children and families of Cedarcrest. It's really been an honor working with her. I'm going to miss her. She's not going to be at the Ethics Committee meeting. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm here like everybody else in the room and everybody else in this video to wish her well, to acknowledge her contributions to Cedarcrest, and to just say it's been a real honor working with you.
I have just reached my 1-year anniversary at Cedarcrest, which is super exciting. And I have to say that I can't imagine this year being as wonderful as it was if it weren't for Kristen Target. Like her partnership and just friendship and coaching, she's just been such a joy to work with. She's a wealth of information. We have had some really tough cases that we've needed to work through, and I truly don't know how I would have done it without her. Again, just her expertise, but also just so much fun to work with. It's really made it a special year. So I deeply appreciate her and helping me launch from a long career in the hospital side of things into long-term care. So it's very new, and she made it really a great transition. Deeply appreciate it. Another great experience I had this year with Kristen is going to my first Pediatric Complex Care Association conference. And we had a really great group of staff that joined us from throughout Cedarcrest. And it was just wonderful to be there, to learn about the organization, but to have us there when she was taking on the role of executive director. It was just, everybody had so much pride. It was really fun to see all of the staff want to be there to support her and celebrate her and show their appreciation for everything that she's done here. And it makes us feel very special that we have that connection to that bigger organization through her.
Elena was scheduled for surgery at Boston Children's Hospital for a spinal fusion, which is a very complicated and invasive surgery. And when Elena was ready to be discharged, we realized she still needed a high level of care that my husband and I weren't entirely sure we could deal with. We contacted Kristen, and Kristen made it possible for Elena to be transported to Cedarcrest for a post-operative visit. She handled all the insurance, talking to the Children's Hospital staff, arranging for the ambulance, and it just seemed seamless and easy, and I'm sure it wasn't, but Kristen made it seem that way, which really helped us as a family.
Kristen, it has been such a privilege working alongside you. Your professionalism, perspectives, steady approach, and forward thinking are all things I think many people admire. You set a strong example and are a great role model. Thank you, Kristen, for that. I wish you the best as your new role evolves.
Perhaps your greatest gift that you have played out on many levels is as an advocate. You were there for any change that Cedarcrest was going through, new initiatives, new relationships, new families. as well as being a community advocate for Cedarcrest. And you always looked for opportunities to tell our story, which was so helpful. You also made sure every child had an advocate. Kristen, you are a gift. I feel very fortunate to have worked with you for many years. And I am excited that you're stepping into a new role with the Pediatric Complex Care Association. I'm really confident about your new beginning, and wish you the best.
Kristen, thank you so much for your many contributions to Cedarcrest across multiple decades. They've been invaluable and too numerous to name. You're a glue person, not just for the staff, but for the families, the children, and our community. I often joke with folks that you are a fixer here. If someone does not know the answer to a question or where to find it, they go to Kristen Target.
I worked with Kristen for many years when I was a state employee. She was such a pleasure and joy to work with. Kristen is always kind. She was so efficient in so many ways. Kristen always made herself available to help sort out the Medicaid, the Social Security, and the care coordination issues that would arise, and she would do it to help the families. We shared many joys, happiness, but some sadness too. Kristen, you are a wonderful, wonderful person.
Thank you, Kristen, for being someone that staff and residents can always count on. I truly enjoy working with you.
For me, knowing that I had a partner that would see a large view all the time and see how it influenced other people. And it really taught me a lot about human nature. And I've just always seen her as a bridge builder. How do we get from here to there? But also, how do we get all these people in that mindset? And she taught me a lot, and I am forever grateful to her for the kind of work she does and the kind of effort she puts in to make people feel comfortable to get to where they need to be.
I can't think of anything. I can think of 1,000 stories, but I probably, just an overall feeling of being a team, and an overall feeling of always having someone have your back, and creative, and look at things from a child's vantage point and not the grown-up standpoint, and trying to help bring that to life for kids. I think the children have just an incredible advocate.
Kristen, your support of and contribution to the Cedarcrest community has meant so much to so many in ways that cannot be listed in the short time that is available for this testimonial. The residents particularly have benefited from your wise and caring approach to the mission. Also, your leadership and mentorship of the members of the Cedarcrest community will carry on through time as your approach is advanced by those you have supervised.
Kristen, thank you for all of your guidance and sharing of knowledge when I first came to Cedarcrest and throughout the time I've been here. Your knowledge of Medicaid and your knowledge of the nuances of the processes with the 3 Medicaid has been amazing. And we've been incredibly lucky to have you here sharing that knowledge. Your commitment to the kids of Cedarcrest is amazing. And you will be missed.
I was her nurse, school nurse in elementary school. So I think I remember maybe once I gave her a ride to her mom's workplace when she wasn't well or was injured at school. And that's why she kind of stood out in my mind, because I covered a lot of different schools at that time. And when I was on the board at Cedarcrest, I think she was hired shortly after I was on the board, and she recalled that we had a great beginning at Cedarcrest. And she's such a warm, welcoming person. She always seemed so full of joy in life whenever I'd see her. And I know she carried the job that was full of really heavy issues. And yet she was the ray of sunshine. And she never let what was on her mind cloud her interactions with other people. And I see her as that with staff and families. And I can't imagine a better person supporting families than Kristen. And she had great professional skills, and yet she was so real about using them, so that she was so much comfort and kindness. And I'm sure that this just meant the world to the families that were going through such difficult times. So I'm sad that she's leaving Cedarcrest, but she's a jewel for this amazing organization. And I looked it up online, and the core values are what Kristen has lived in her role at Cedarcrest. So I feel like her joy, or her gifts will be spread over the nation, really, and her influence with all the pediatric care facilities throughout the country.
Very overwhelmed, but
And to be clear, Kristen is not completely leaving. Kristen started her journey as a part-time social worker and for years has served on our senior leadership team. And what she is now transitioning into is from a full-time role to a part-time role as she takes on leading the Pediatric Complex Care Association. And in another moment of being proud, how wonderful is it that one of our own is now leading our National Trade Association? It's a tremendous credit both to Kristen as a person and to the character of the organization that grew her. So really, really appreciative of everything Kristen has done and will do now as we move into the future. So we're coming into the home stretch of the program here, and an important function of an annual meeting is to open the floor for questions. Bethany and Jeremy back there are monitoring the chat for questions from Zoom. But if folks have questions, I'm happy to take them, and we'll call on the senior leaders if I need some reinforcement. Anyone have any questions this evening? Seeing none in the room, we'll turn to Zoom. Bethany, what do you got back there?
Yeah, Jay, we do have one.
Okay.
It's a question about the expansion. You mentioned the 7.5 acres next door a few times. Just wondering, now that we have full staffing, what is the plan for the land?
Yeah, great question. We have no shovels out. We have no immediate plans to dig or to build. We know that we have some near-term priorities. We are pressed for parking during the day. Might not seem like it this evening, but during the day with school in session, throwing an orientation or students visiting, we are very tight for parking. So having the land gives us the flexibility to look at things like that. I think Ada and the team have asked for some more raised garden beds in the back. John and the team have been thinking about ways to improve the playground. So it gives us the flexibility to investigate those kinds of things in the near term. And it also preserves the opportunity in the future, if we continue to be at full census, to think about what our community needs, what the young adults need, whether that's here or somewhere else.
Anyone else have a question from the audience? Otherwise, there's a couple more coming in through Zoom.
Okay, we can take those.
The next question is regarding the federal landscape. You mentioned a shift in funding. How is Cedarcrest preparing for the financial challenges?
Oh, yeah. the leadership team is inwardly cringing, like Jay's going to talk politics for way too long. Politics in terms of public policy, not in terms of partisan rhetoric, to be clear. There are big changes coming in Medicaid. The big bill programs a drawdown in federal Medicaid funding for states that, if unchanged, looks like around $250 million in less Medicaid funding for the state of New Hampshire starting in 2028. That means that the state of New Hampshire is going to have some difficult prioritizations to make over the next couple of years because the total pie that they'll be starting with will be much smaller. It is a unique aspect of what we do here that pretty much everyone can agree that these kids need what they need. And when we go to Concord or even down to DC, we get a lot of buy-in on our mission, on the work that we do, on its value, on its importance. We've had folks from across the political spectrum visit us and engage us in meaningful dialogue about what we do and its value. And I'm confident that we have the right partnerships and the right pathways established to do that advocacy, to attest to that value, and to navigate what comes next. I am so lucky that we have the great manager and leader team that we do, that I can spend a day a month in Concord meeting with other nonprofits and with elected officials and business leaders, that I can go down to DC a couple times a year and lobby on the Hill. I can promise you, whether it's here in New Hampshire or down in DC, they know about us. They might be a little tired of hearing from me, but they know about us and they value our work. Things are not going to be easy over the next couple of years, but we are well positioned to navigate it. We have a board-designated strategic reserve that generates some investment income. The idea there is that that helps us through periods of time where there aren't Medicaid rate increases. Because one of the great commitments, not just in my time, but for a long time, is that we take care of the staff. And we can't do that if we are totally beholden to Medicaid rate increases to do it. It's just not there every year. So it will take a village. It will take more than a village. It will take people of kindness and curiosity and collaboration to get through what comes next. But I am beyond confident that we have the right community, the right people, and the right partners to navigate that.
Anyone else have a question? We've got one more on Zoom, if not. The last question is about staffing, and you just kind of alluded to the exceptional staff that we have, and mentioned earlier that we have our zero agency staff, which is very exciting. What Cedarcrest doing to retain, especially those nurses and LNAs, and really keep that turnover rate low?
Yeah, so all of the directors would be happy to talk to you about this. Aaron Dallas-Patch has led many of our strategies in this area, but you see leaders like Buffy and Taylor working on staff growth and development, Amanda in the school. It's really a whole team project to support growth and development. But there's really two answers to this sort of question. What are we doing to keep staff? Quite a lot. We've built out a pay and benefits foundation that is best in class in the nonprofit landscape. That was an intentional strategic choice. We've built out a program of staff support and education and mentorship that is not always perfect, but it is intentional and it is effortful, and it has helped keep folks and grow folks. You see the Knox Scholarship, you hear Took's story, you see examples of people growing with Cedarcrest. The other thing I'll mention, and something we kind of joke about as a leadership team from time to time, is the worst case scenario at Cedarcrest is that we invest a lot of time and energy and resources in someone who then goes to Cheshire or Dartmouth or Langdon Place and is an incredible LNA or nurse there. And if that's the downside, then we were leaning all the way in on that downside. So we do quite a lot to support the staff, both their growth, their basic well-being, and kind of appreciation strategies have really blossomed under Erin's leadership. I know she would be happy to talk more with folks about that, but it's something we're really proud of.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Excellent. So as we bring it to a close, I want to say we've spent a lot of time talking about our stability and our foundation, the resilience of our team, the children, the organization. I mentioned a moment ago that the sort of storm outside is roiling. It is not a time where there is a lot of kindness and collaboration in the spaces where it would be really useful to have some kindness and some collaboration. That's why this year was really critical. We spent this year building a stable foundation. We fixed our staffing in important ways. We modernized our medical model in partnership with Dartmouth. We invested in our people rather than temporary fixes, and that allows us to enter 2026 from a position of relative strength. We have the right team. We have a board that advises and supports with wisdom. We have infrastructure that is stable. We have opportunities for growth. As I close, I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank the children and the team, their families, our community members, all of the folks on Zoom. We quite literally can't do this without all of you. Ask Jim about the financial reports that not just philanthropic giving, but volunteer time, leadership, support, encouragement, good ideas, all of that is part of the special mix that makes Cedarcrest what it is. So as we move into 2026, where is Cedarcrest? We're stable, we're strong, and most importantly, we're moving forward together. Thank you all so much for your time, your trust, and for being with us here tonight. Good night.
For the board members of Cedarcrest, if you can hang back, we're going to get a group photo.